What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch from RespectRegion.com coming back with another episode of the RMR Podcast. Today, joined by special guests out here in the PNW, Willamette Valley Alchemy. I got Derek and Brice. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, doing good.
It's good over here in Eugene. You know, it's smoking hot here in Oregon right now. It's kind of the main topic everybody's on, but we're staying cool, and so are our extracts. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I know I told you guys via email, but, you know, for the people out there, these guys were one of the few people to ever score a perfect score on our West Coast Weed Tour reviews or any of our reviews. I can't remember exactly what product it was. We didn't even link up with you guys personally. We just bought it randomly at a store. We shop at dispensaries all the time, asking people what the best products are, what the most popular products are. Sometimes those are different categories. But somebody recommended one of your guys, I think it was a pack spot or a cart or something. And Joey, one of our guys, reviewed it. It got a perfect 10 out of 10. And that is very, very rare for us. So
love to hear that. Our carts are definitely very, very well, highly spoken of and well recommended by bartenders around the state. So
awesome, man. Awesome.
And thanks for the support. Just scoop it through the store and giving us some honest feedback. Is just getting this into people's hands and letting them kind of make their own decision. And I think that's kind of what led us to where we are today, which is still out here, still on the market since now it's been 7 years.
So out here hustling, and we're gonna go over the little bit of history here in a second, and then talk about the current state of the market. But I start off every episode with our guest origin stories around cannabis. So Brice, we'll start with you, and then we'll move to Derek. But I'm just curious, kind of personal or professional, your origin story with cannabis.
For sure. Derek, do you want to give a kind of blip on yours, touch?
mine's kind of a weird one. I didn't really anticipate being in the cannabis industry. Going to school to be a mechanical engineer, and I was a big stoner. I got a job at a dispensary as like a front desk person just because I thought it'd be easy, and then kind of just grew more passionate about cannabis as time went on and worked my way up the ranks and ended up managing that dispensary for a long time, and then got hired on to WVA about a year ago and gone through 3 different positions here, and now I'm the director of sales here, and it's been great. It's been a very interesting industry, and I'm glad I chose this over school, honestly.
Yeah.
What about you, Brice?
My relationship for cannabis started when I was very young. My family, I'm the youngest of 5 siblings. My family has always kind of had that outside high for Thanksgiving dinner. My sister would go for rolls with me around the neighborhood, and it's always kind of been part of my life. I could say I remember finding hash, talking babysitters into it when I was like 13 years old. Somehow I ended up with a ball of hash. I've always been very interested in not only what the medicinal benefits I feel I get from cannabis. At a young age, I was ADHD, immediately 14 years old, diagnosed, medications, things like that I didn't always try to tinker away from. And cannabis, regardless, just has always been a staple, but not, being responsible at 18 is when that light switch turned on. I understood, more about how it works in me. And it's always been something I've enjoyed. I've always had it in my pocket. And then since people have appreciated my quality and procuring it, then others have asked for it as well. And so it's been a build up working traditional markets in Florida, where I'm from, Florida. Very illegal. A lot of stigma based around it, and I've kind of seen a lot of the different aspects from underground. Knowing that, I moved somewhere safe in 2012 of May. I was 21 years old, so it's 10 years ago now. I moved out to Eugene, Oregon, where I had family through my in-laws that always told me that's a safe place to go. They've got a medical program. You can get legitimate here as far as just being a patient, not company-based. Just you be a patient and not get arrested for a damn seed or stem. Nothing you're doing is bad. Break the stigma. And work through medical until, I kind of talked my business partners now moving out, and it's just that my passion for cannabis has only increased. I grow a little bit on my own time, but mostly just so that I'm super in tune with my own growers. But yeah, I'm an owner and founder of this business, Willamette Valley Alchemy. Chose the name because of the terroir where we're at. It's just like wine. It's just like beer. That's how we're selling it to demographic over the age of 21, adult use, and it's more of a wellness product. That's the kind of parallel roads we work here at Willamette Valley Alchemy and try to represent.
Absolutely. And we look at it like the appellation, right? Just like wine, of like where cannabis is grown at. Oregon is one of those places that's long been, I'll say, slept on. You know, like if you really know, Southern Oregon has been home to a lot of, you know, fed a lot of the country a lot of good cannabis for many decades. I know a lot of people look at Cali or specifically the Emerald Triangle, but anyone that's like actually involved with this, I feel like that's a good, like, if someone knows about Oregon, then they're involved. If not, you know, everybody knows about Cali, but if you're involved, you know that Oregon has this history. And then also, you know, it's also an agricultural area as well, the Willamette Valley. So it's a nice appellation. What has all gone into like selecting the cannabis that you guys use to run for concentrates? Like what do you guys look for and kind of vet for raw input materials?
And real quick, before we change into that, and I think Oregon was the most progressive as far as the first medical marijuana program established domestically. So yes, like Colorado turned on for rec, but Oregon had the medical program. And so yes, 100% why we're here. But going back to the question was,
what do you guys look for, like in raw materials and flour that you're putting in? Obviously, concentrates, you got to look at the input. I know, you know, concentrates can kind of mask some not as great input, right? Flour that might sell as just flour itself, but obviously quality in, quality out is the mathematical equation there. So what all do you guys look for those inputs, like the raw materials you're putting on the input for concentrates?
Great question, because it's one of the most important ones that any extractor should focus on, especially if they're not reliant on single source inputs. Procuring material, which is essentially collecting the material, deciding what we use as inputs. Yeah, so important. How do we? Well, there's a couple different things. You know, it's choosing producers that are all intentionally organic. That's one of the first steps. You know, they got to do their best to be environmentally friendly, grow, you know, we own, and we just feel like that's a great way to feed the plant exactly what it needs in order to produce proper oils and proper, like, hardened off glandular trichome heads, more for the hash. But yes, there is a difference in, you know, in material a lot of times, like what you can make with I call it hydrocarbon extract. That's BHO, that's BHE, that's blended hydrocarbon. For us, it's the way to describe it as a botanical extraction process. It's used in a lot of other industries. Vanilla is used to make a lot of different flavors. So these aren't like new, they're new for the cannabis industry, but yeah, you got to be really specific. So I walk rows of plants. I check with my growers as much as we can to get in that high quality, potentially organic material. A lot of it's strain based, you know, a lot of it's hype strain based. A lot of it's small batch. You don't want big batches of things. But then again, you know, because we're not trying to just get with their, like, so there's a lot of working close with the grower that goes into choosing our material. And I think the more it shows, like, the more quality extracts and concentrates we make, are the closer relationship we have with that producer. You know, freshness, getting it fresh. We also help with like harvest techs, and we working with all these variety of growers. It gives a huge benefit for Willamette Valley Alchemy and our success, because it allows us to understand all these different growing methods, understand how they process, and then be able to help elevate all those companies together, whether one harvests better, one straight grows better, one stores it the best. Applying all that helps elevate all of us and collaborate, just co-branding on a package. You know, it's a good question, because there's a lot of steps between it. And again, I can always kind of go off on this shit. So excuse me for wasting time.
No waste of time. All valuable inputs, all valuable input. And that was another question I had is the approach of collaborations and like, what do you approach versus, or you guys list every farmer, like farm you source on the packaging, or you just do that for select collabs?
So yes, we're having a little communication staff coming on your side, so it's coming through on our side. Hope everybody can be. But what I got from it is kind of like, do we co-brand at farmer on every package? Yes, and that's been something. Here's one with Boo Farms. You can see it right here. Little bad. You can source all of our products to grow, whether it's retrievable, Rogue Farmer on the side, you know, whether it's our liquid live raws parts, boom, Indigo Gardens. Something that I felt was really important when we had the first license in the state of Oregon Recreation Active as processed. So something that I felt was important was to make sure that farm, that we're in collaboration with them. We're just white labeling their stuff out. Folks in Oregon, I think domestic they want extra info. They want to know, hey, I love the flower from that spot. I gotta try the oil, you know, and then it works the other way around. I love the oil from that collaboration. I gotta have the flower. And honestly, just look at the flower. You gotta make sure that the flower product's good before we choose to run it or not. And grading the material, and it's different every harvest batch, and seasonally, indoor, outdoor, greenhouse. Strains perform different under all these circumstances, and so yeah, we feel it's important for the story to have the farm portrayed on all of our packaging.
I love that. I think it adds some elements of transparency, but it's also very much thinking ecosystem first, which is a way that I like to personally approach things. You know, we're all in this together. We all exist in this market. You know, as the market elevates, you know, rising tides raise all ships. Derek, from your perspective of like knocking on doors and dispensaries, how much do dispensaries prioritize or enjoy like that transparency in the packaging of labeling where the flower comes from? Because I know not a lot of concentrate brands that source do that.
You'd be really surprised at how many dispensaries buy product based on the farm that the flower is procured from. They're really, the market is flooded with a lot of distillate products, a lot of products where you don't know where it's coming from. It's just kind of like sour diesel. Where did that sour diesel come from? Who grew it? Does it have added terps? Like, we don't really know, you know? And so it's like a lot of the, bigger conglomerate companies that are coming in are just kind of just not really giving the customer that information. And I feel like, especially, is very conscious about that. And so a lot of the intake managers, a lot of the dispensary workers, and obviously a lot of the customers want to know that. And so that's why a lot of people turn to our product, because of the transparency and also just, kind of that, like, craft cannabis, so.
No, I love that, and that makes complete sense. What's the current state in your guys' perspective of the Oregon market as a whole, right? Like, I know over the last few years there's been a massive oversupply. Being one of the first states, a lot of people kind of went there, and it got big without certain license caps. Has the market stabilized a little bit, or what does the market kind of look like at the current moment?
So, cannabis industry right now is a hard one to compete in for a lot of reasons, and a lot is oversaturation and the inability to sell this over state lines. That's the most difficult part. Is we are all bound, and I'm saying when I say all, I mean Oregon recreational companies we're competing with. We're all bound to our state border. So, like, even though we have recreational states, south, north, south, and east, and we got Nevada, Idaho hasn't turned on yet, a little less progressive, but we have, potential to do interstate commerce between these and feed larger markets because Oregon is progressive, and we have now figured out how to make a lot of product that's available for rec sale. So even though California is the largest economy in the world and the United States, and they're having more trouble creating these rec products. So like we could even be feed. So like it's hard knowing that like we're unable to serve the largest demographic possible and operate just like a normal business would. We're still at the end of the day federal outlaws with scheduling. There's no denying that. Excuse me, we can sleep better and, being rec and having the licenses and playing by all the rules. And it feels good not to have to, play those old hustling habits. But I'll tell you, man, it's hard out here to make it. And what it really takes is having a really good team that shares a vision and really pushes the brand and understands the importance of customer loyalty and making sure that we're consistent with our products so that when your mom, dad, brother, sister, friends all go into a dispensary here in the state of Oregon, they could blindly just be like, I just want anything with the shield, just whether it's edibles, capsules, carts, dabs, just like let's just see any of the Willamette Valley stuff. That's kind of what we're going for. Is that focus on that customer loyalty and really focus on customer service. And so it takes extra work. Right now, it takes extra work. It takes running extra hours to survive. And if you're not running a lean, mean ship, your boat's already sunk. And I see people closing their doors. I see people shutting down that are good friends of mine, that are breeders, that are leaders in this industry. Shout out Geek Farm, shout out Heroes of the Farm. I feel for everybody, and yeah, we're just doing what we can to survive. But they haven't really set us up for clear success by keeping it so overregulated.
Right. And then also when
it's a lot to unpack, but no, I do agree with him. I think right now the market's just in a weird spot. I was reading an article in High Times last week actually about the cannabis industry in Oregon is at like a 3-year low essentially in the month of June, and 7/10 is the first week of July. And I noticed a lot of dispensaries ordered a ton of product for this anticipated 7/10, thinking it was going to be like a 420. And a lot of their sales fell flat on their face. I mean, it's just the reality is the demand wasn't there for the product that these companies, spent over their budget to buy. And now they're all sitting on this product. So it's things like that are hurting the industry. We're going off of COVID numbers right now. And during COVID, nobody had anything to do but to smoke weed. Now people are going back to work. They're back in office. They can't just be, stoned at work in the office like they could at home. So I think that there's a lot of change going on right now with it being summer, COVID kind of slowing down, and obviously the economy doesn't help either. But that's a whole other topic. So
better numbers than ever in the dispensaries, though. Y'all go get them. There's some deals out there.
Some deals, that's for sure.
Woo.
A lot of
buyer's market. Y'all go have fun with that.
It is a buyer's market right now for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing a surplus, I think, in most markets right now, most mature markets, right, that have had demand. Some of the newer markets, they don't have the supply yet, but any of those markets that are mature, you're seeing the customers benefiting from quality dropping to some all-time lows.
Totally.
In terms of price. And Brice, you were talking about, the customers and putting the customer first. And one of the things with the customer, in this market, right, like we see across the country, there's different segments, but the largest segment is those chasing THC and price, right? They want the combination of the most THC for the lowest price. For right or for wrong, it's what we see. But being in a state like Oregon, that has had, whether you call it traditional market, black market, medical, whatever, the pre-rec market, people were able to buy good products at a good price for a long time. And you implement this legal system that taxes the shit out of everything. It raises the price. In California, they say like 80% of the transactions on cannabis, or 70 to 80%, are outside of the system within the state of California. My guess, I haven't seen any figures on the Pacific Northwest. I feel like Washington and Oregon is a little bit less just because our price to the consumer ends up being lower. But what have you guys noticed in kind of watching that transition from the old style to this rec market? in a state where consumers are used to quality and used to affordable prices, like, you feel like they transition to the rec market pretty somewhat smoothly, or do you think that's kind of been a friction and there's still a lot of people left behind in terms of consumer standpoint?
I mean, it's been a hustle to create a brand that folks can trust and believe in. It's the folks you think will support. It's kind of like seeing who your real friends are in a way. It hasn't been smooth sailing. Trying to build up, these, just to be so consistent and so on point all the time. It's draining. But like that's what this company is about, and but nothing. It has been anything but smooth sailing, switching from the unregulated market to 35 cameras in my phone, alarms, multiple facilities, drivers running out, doing dispatch. We do all of our own distribution, so we're running dispatch and things all week long. We do that also to focus on the brand and customer service, and we do these extra things all just to again, so folks can understand the quality and then bet on that. I mean, that's what we got.
I think the market going rec, a lot of people that maybe wouldn't have used or tried cannabis now have, because it's regulated, it's tested. Yeah. I have family members, grandparents, people that, I used to be grounded for, if I had finding my bong, and now it's like, people I know that were super against it, they use things in the cannabis. It doesn't always mean it gets them high, but solves, topicals, tinctures, CBD edibles.
Huge gateway.
It's really, I think it is helping a lot of people and opening people's eyes. But I also agree with Brice that there is still kind of a black market out there for sure. So.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough to get rid of that. With the black market is home to the legacy smoker, right? Who's been smoking the most weed, spending the most money on it, knows the most about it, and when you're smoking that level of product, you got to take price into consideration. If you're smoking a gram or more a day of oil, or an eighth or more a day of flour, like it's tough to do that.
Some of the prices are all over the board. You have $15 grams of rosin, you got $100 grams of rosin,
right?
All in the same stores, and it's both rosin, so it's pretty wild. But how does the consumer supposed to understand that is just an average person, not in the cannabis industry,
But having a positive outlook has been our biggest thing, and again, I say it's hard and things like that, but I'm so grateful to be here and like blessed to be participating in something that is revolutionary, which is this laying down the groundwork for this cannabis industry and keeping it cool, and I thoroughly, it's fulfilling. I thoroughly enjoy my job. I'm still working with cannabis, and that's kind of why I always made the switch. And when a lot of folks are like, no, it's not going to be a system that works, and it could never work, like my traditional industry folk, you talked it down when we switched over. The whole time I kept telling them, I just don't want to stop making oil. I don't want to stop making products for people. So like that's all, and sure enough, we're still here. We're not going anywhere.
What are some of your guys' top popular product SKUs? I mean, obviously, running concentrates, you run probably a lot of different strains and individual products, but you guys have kind of a wide variety of product offerings SKU wise. What are some of the ones that you guys feel like Willamette Valley Alchemy is most well known for?
Carts.
Currently, it's our liquid live resin, liquid cured resin, and liquid live rosin. We hold the trademarks on all those, and here in the state of Oregon, that we've innovated to produce the liquid live resin, being probably the most popular. Essentially, right when that vape ban hit, and a lot of folks were getting in trouble for additives that we knew about. We never used additives. We never test ran with additives. We knew that we were able to make cannabis extract, like shatters and things like that, into this beautiful pen formulation. And then we focused on it for a long time. And so, yeah, it's been our biggest seller. It puts the farm in your pocket. So farm to pocket's been our our branding on that, and it's true. We use a wood tip. Is the most eco-friendly cart option on the market, being in a recyclable box with a wood tip, glass, metal, ceramic. Like, yes, we have to throw these things away, but ours, we support refilling. We sell drippers for less expensive. So even there, we're trying to innovate and make this more environmentally conscious, or take a more environmentally conscious approach to cartridges because they've been so popular.
Yeah, and I can see that carts are definitely one of the most popular categories in cannabis, and I feel like they're for everyone. The person who hasn't quite moved to like smoking flower or taking dabs yet, a cart is kind of a healthy, training wheels to that. And then anyone that smokes a lot of flower, they still smoke, whether they like carts or not, they still smoke them because there's times where you can't be super loud with the flower.
Yeah.
I mean, wind's blowing. Under all circumstances, you can always just push that button. And we've just started dropping these awesome hardware to try to match. So we've been selling a lot of like awesome 510 vape batteries. Those have been extremely popular. We do artist collaborations and renditions, put them on the box, and then release seasonal colors so people are able to like differentiate their oil. They just have fun with it. It's a fun line. And that's what we're going to continue to do with it, is just continue innovating and making it fun for the consumer. You can get the one that matches your whole setup, and it's sweet. Like I'll pull them out and match my shoes. Like you got all the different colorways and flavors. It's sweet.
He loves his shoes.
Oh,
car battery got to be matching the shoes. I like that.
It's like that now.
What's
that
match your shoes
too.
We got a lot of designs nowadays.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Carts are popular. But dabbables like hash and rosin and stuff like that is what we're really passionate about. That's where it all starts before stuff gets turned into formulation. So it better be fire, from start to finish to even make it into the cart. So there's no masking. Again, we love our dabbables. I got a lot of glass and we try all these products in a handful of different ways before deciphering whether it goes to carts, to dabbables, to edibles, to capsules.
And that's the edibles, the retreat edibles. When was that something you started right around the start, or was it something you guys kind of grew into as Willamette Valley was pushing in the legal market?
So pre-branding them as retreats, Willamette Valley Alchemy on the traditional market and the medical. We were making gummies. We were making gummy squares. We actually had some friends that were helping us with it. Shout out to my Middle America homies. You know who you are. But we used to put those out on the medical market just in Eugene. I think Amazon Organics used to get some. They were branded just as Willamette Valley Alchemy gummies. We actually had the first rosin edible ever on the medical market in Oregon. So we've always been progressive with it, even though we were selling, there was other people making gummies and things like that. But now where Retreats has moved and where it's evolved is something completely different. It's where we've always dreamed. It's a totally made from scratch. My sister-in-law, Lynn Sherman, it's her brainchild, essentially. We love the idea of a retreat, taking a vacation, taking my own vacation. They're all real fruit, and it took like 54 recipes to get where we're at with it. So yeah, yes, we had them, but now where Retreats is somewhere really special. We got like an endless summer line where we'll do kind of like the tropical Skittles pack. We got like banana, different flavors, but yeah, it's progressed, and now it really speaks to that high quality WVA vibe.
And how much of that has been, getting into edibles? Because obviously the start of that is a concentrate, right? That's how you infuse these things in this market. How much of it has it been about for you guys and focusing on having that right starting material, not starting material in terms of the flower, but the concentrates, and what concentrates that you put into edibles? Obviously, I heard you say hash. So do you guys do hash and VHO infused, or?
It's all the same oil.
Yeah, no, we have like, for instance, this is a solventless, and this is also a vegan. So this we infuse with rosin, and they're vegan. That's from Rogue Farmer. But then, we'll do straight our oil from our botanical hydrocarbon line. And this is from East Fork. These are more CBD forward. So how do we choose it? We like using high quality inputs for everything. We don't really have a need to run crude, so we don't infuse crude or distillate currently into any of our products, which is a huge difference between WVA retreats and any other competition on the market out there. People may have real fruit gummy or something like that, but ours is like strain specific. Take it back to the farm. And again, we've never had to run crude, so we put high quality oil in, and we feel it helps the experience. We think you got terpenes, you taste the terpenes in there a little bit, and that's what we prefer. That's our niche.
Yeah, you guys are definitely focused on from that, not doing crude, not doing distillate, keeping it high quality, and then represent the farmer. I live in Washington, but I spend a lot of time in a lot of different cannabis markets. That's very unique for a concentrate brand. Very almost unheard of, honestly.
Thank you. It's been hard to hold true to it because we're competing with these crazy low prices of folks that just can use distillate, and then the consumers are like, their numbers and price. And so it takes a lot of extra education. So definitely follow at Retreats on IG, Retreats WVA, WVA solvent list, so that everybody can understand, all this education and ask us any more questions. We'll always be receptive and on any of our social media platforms.
Awesome, man. Well, honestly, I really appreciate you guys hopping on here, making the time today, battling through some pushbacks, a little bit of technical delays, but we got it done. For anyone out there wanting more information, Willamette Valley Alchemy.com. He dropped a couple of the IGs. I know the main one is Willamette_Valley_Alchemy on Instagram.
Yep.
Guys likely hit with some previous accounts being taken down or something, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. You know it, just like every other cannabis company.
Yeah. We got an underscore in ours, man. Anytime you start seeing underscores, you already know what time it is, man.
and y'all stay tuned with Respect My Region. We appreciate y'all. Big
thank you so much for having us.
Push positive. Keep up those good vibes, man. That's how we got to make it. We got to band together here for the love of cannabis.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be reaching out, man. Next time we roll through Eugene, we gotta link up in person, man. I gotta come see the facility.
Absolutely, come to her at any time.
We got a promo pack with your name on it, so do it.
Bless. All right, man. Well, appreciate you guys. This is another episode of the RMR Podcast. We got back to back. We got another episode coming up here shortly.